Welcome back, one and all, to the North American Challengers League. I'm Mazel, joined by Cubby, and we are neck deep into our second series of the day. Our second best of three is Maryville University that came over top AoE, it felt like, in game number one. Over 10,000, tons of map control, not much for AoE to do, except get ready for game number two.
You know, I in the break, I opened my door and went to go get some extra water, as you do as a caster, and actually got hit by a shock blast in the face, and then Spyrex brought the hammer down on me on the way back. So, you know, I'm still feeling those from here.
Mid-water.
Yeah.
Well, that's how, you know, Onet might be feeling too. We'll see. But I do want to highlight specifically some of the good map decisions from Maryville. They had a very clear game plan. Yes, getting some solo kills in the side lanes helps a little bit with that game plan, but it also was just clean decision making, right? Even around the map, being able to be on time for the dragons, realize the dragon stacking was a big objective for them, and to execute around that was actually pretty big.
And honestly, something I actually kind of like from Maryville is that I feel like a lot of the pieces that they drafted actually fit that poke comp. Like Maokai, Jace, Ferris in Fearless Draft, like if that's when you're going to play those champs, that's a pretty strong composition to play. That's just raw poke. Of course, in Fearless, you can no longer use those picks if you are Maryville. So I think, like, I'm kind of curious, like, as we kind of continue to learn and iterate on Fearless Draft, like what our teams come up with. We do see more comps where it's like very centered around one or two pieces or like a core identity, finding champs that can fit. Because you can swap that out with Fearless. Like, let's say Varus isn't available. You can play Jhin with that comp, and it's still somewhat doable, right? Like, there are other options. So I'm interested to see just how that evolves over time. We kind of continue to play around with this new format.
I also got to reach out to all the teams, AoE and Fear, and now as well, just to make sure that they're playing Jhin when I'm casting. Because I'm a little sad we haven't gotten a single Jhin on the day that I'm casting. But well, it is what it is. I'm not salty.
Masu at LCS, though.
He
did play some Jhin. There are a couple misses. Some of the curtain calls.
Don't worry about it, all right?
You know, we'll do better next time. But, you know, it was a win. He's looking decent on the stage for our most valuable prospect from Challengers. You know, it's not bad.
So the biggest question then for me, we've talked about Maryville's up-and-coming performance, especially in game number one. But AoE was, I felt like the team we were lauding more going into this game. And Maryville kind of stopped that. And we were looking at a lot of this bot lane. Wixie, Breezy back together again, giving that early blood over. It definitely changes that bot lane a little bit. But what are we looking at for the adaptations for AoE coming into game two?
I mean, in a way, you can write that game off because I think that so many things went haywire that it is what it is. But I don't want to, whatever game's next, I want to see them not get blown out of the water in lane. They do have the option to do so. And I also think that, like, AoE, they got a lot of power picks. Like, if you think of a draft and you're like, wow, Rumble, Xin, Lucian, Milio, right? Like, these are all picks that are really high prio and, like, up high on the tier list for many teams in the meta. I don't think they had enough setup for the Rumble, and then things just went from bad to worse. It's like each side laner died. Rosestorm was just even with Yuji, and as a Maokai, if you're getting your farm, you're in good shape. So I think for this next draft, I'm hoping that we see AoE at least maybe take a little bit more early game, but find a draft that's a little bit more cohesive together, because I don't think that was set up that well for Rumble.
Well, we get into it now. AoE have chosen the blue side for game number two. We got Maryville on
teams
the red
choosing
side.
Blue side?
Crazy, right?
On this patch and on this new map? Who would have thought?
Wow.
No way.
Crazy. Okay, anyway, we're going to move past that. So we got the Azir and the Nocturne ban already. We also have the Senna and the Ashe ban. So I'm sure Maryville's bans probably stay about the same from they did in game number one. I think AoE is the one that maybe changes things up a little bit. That Lucian ban does come through.
That is interesting to me because now Milio is up and AoE cannot play Milio. They also cannot play Xin. So maybe they're trying... Like, I want to see Maryville ban Vi. Like, if you ban Vi here, you can pick Milio and you can play Aphelios Milio. Like, who cares if Lucian's off the table? Take the Aphelios with that, right? I think that, like, that would be an approach that with Fearless, like, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like some of the ways you can abuse Fearless Draft in your favor.
I would be interested if AoE want to go for like a Maokai though for Roast. The Udyr is the ban trying to take away that from Zamudo yet again.
No more Circle Man.
No more Circle Man. Zamudo doesn't get to have fun.
Yeah.
He got to be a different kind of flame in game number one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that one kind of flamed out. So we'll see. And I will say, like, he's got more options. I mean, he could play Brand top, you know. It is Zamudo, but Not going to be the case. Said it is Orianna locked down for Onat in the mid lane. And a lot of Enchantresses still on the board to see if Maryville wants to get creative.
Would be very interested if this is going to be picked up for Scary Jerry. I know Zyko does play the Seraphine. Actually likes the Seraphine when I talked to him in Harrisburg a couple months back. But I would be interested to see if some of that off-season growth is starting to come through for a lot of our bot laners, right? We were talking earlier in our first best of 3, some of the adaptations coming in the bot lane, some players who maybe not always played those Enchantresses. Going to be whipping those ones out yet again, but it does look like we'll just get the Spyrax Gauntlet thrown down. The Akali is here to play.
So Akali really strong in this patch. You have multiple builds that are good. A lot of it, though, built around that Storm Surge. And talked about this when we saw the Akali versus Azir in game 1 of the day, when it was Fear versus Mirage Alliance. But it's all about attacking that pick in the side lane. No better pick to do that with than a Vi. Oh.
Were they listening to me?
Oh, wow. All right. We got Jhin from Azal.
We got 4. I'm just going to say 4 over and over again for the rest of the cast. That's it.
I love how you love one of the worst champs in competitive, but I respect it.
I hate you.
Bro,
come on. Kagas was talking about the static Shiv build yesterday was very interesting, but I remember Kagas was talking about the Lord Dao. I was like, oh, he's not going to do damage, and then I proceeded to watch 4 ulti shots hit the back of a tank and literally shred him to 0. I mean, Kangas, what is happening?
I mean, some of the itemization changes are nice, but, you know, you still are a marksman that can't do consistent DPS damage unless you get absurdly ahead. So, we'll see how Maryville can combat that at the moment. It does seem very sideline focused. They have the Akali, they have the Jhin. I'm expecting a Nautilus or a Vi here. You need some lockdown for the Callista, but no, it is going to be a Bradley Cooper.
A Zyko special. Okay.
All right. We get Bard. Interesting.
I like the Bard Jhin combo, honestly. I think it's very deadly in lane, but it also provides Zyko a ton of options outside of lane. So I'm very interested how AoE are going to button that down a little bit, because you've got the Callista Renata, and it's a very deadly duo in the bot lane, just in the laning phase. So now we're in the second phase. I expect Maryville's bans to be more focused towards either jungle or top. The Cassante is the first thing off the table. We'll see what the focus is for AoE. I do expect them to be about the same.
Cassante, of course, is Fearless banned for Niles, so it makes even more sense taking that away from Zanudo. Frankly, I think that's like maybe something like an Ornn would be okay for AoE. I actually think a tank would be really good right now for AoE because you're going up against Jhin Akali. If you are a tank going up against Jhin Akali, you're going to like the life that you live. So I'd love to see Maryville maybe deny Ornn as well.
And anything that can lock down Jhin is just going to be a terrible time. We give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry, Jan. I love you. Yesterday, we unfortunately saw Jan like lose the game for Team Liquid because he ulted and just couldn't do anything. So like, there's those moments where if Jhin is not useful, even if he's ahead, it can be very difficult to play around, where you always have consistent viability with, say, the Callista and the Orianna on top of it. So I'm very curious at what kind of stabilizing factors both these teams are looking for in the second phase. We actually got the Jax ban from MU, and it was the Poppy and the Rumble ban for AoE.
Yeah, so of course Zin's up. I mean, I would love a Trundle coming out of AoE. I think Trundle for Rosethorn. I know it's a pick that Rosethorn plays. I saw him playing it in Champs Queue. I mean, Onat, we're doing quite a bit in there. If this is the Zinzal locked in for Yuji, would love a Trundle. No excitement there with the Kazakhs. I think that there needs to be a little bit of CC and upfront damage.
Oh, for sure.
For Maryville. They're going to find that in the Zin. Zin very strong right now. Don't mind that pick. Actually, a decent way to deal with Callista, too. Is there a couple creative ways you can use that Crescent Guard and also just the 3-talent strike. A lot easier to get Callista now with that auto attack reset as well on that Titanic Hydra. So I think Maryville, they have some strength.
I think if Poppy wasn't banned, that was the 4th pick for Maryville for sure. But the Zinzao actually provides so much, at least zoning. But it would be curious what they're going to go with like the top lane counter pick, because into Aatrox, yes, you can find some advantages, but usually it's going to require some help from the jungle. Would be very curious if Niles is going to try to go with one of his classic picks or something along those lines. But now we got to see what Rosethorn is going to be rocking, and we have seen the prevalence of the Trundle, and it does get locked.
Yes, it's so good against Zin. You just steal his stats, and you take it against an Akali, against a Jhin. You are tanky. I think that Yone would be a really good pick here for Niles in the top side of that Aatrox. That makes sense to me, but I like the Trundle a lot. I think it's a smart pick here for AoE, and they have a very standard front to back now, where you can utilize the Orianna to buy some space against Maryville. And Maryville, for me, it's all about side laning. They've got Niles on his Gnar. They have Spyrax on the Akali. Attack the Aatrox and the Orianna in the side lane, especially that Ori in the mid game if you're able to find him.
Good, at least, situations that are present for both teams. I think AoE is definitely wanting to have a bit of a better come up than last game against Maryville, and I think Maryville coming in with a different shade, but similar style to some extent with a lot of utility coming out of the bot lane, but primary point in position definitely is Spyrax on the Akali. If Spyrax isn't ahead, I feel like the temperature is going to be a little cool for Maryville. And AoE, as you said, kind of trying to set up around those objectives, not let Maryville have complete control over dragons yet again, and at least have Rosethorn in a better position to be proactive. Because I think that was the biggest takeaway from last game, is Rosethorn was a lot of the times like 1 or 2 seconds ahead of the rest of his team.
And AoE will have access to some push early, so I think that should help Rosethorn very much in the early game.
We're getting into game 2 now. Will we get a second best of 3 and keep the momentum going? Where Maryville start off their 2024 with a 2-0. We saw very dominant performance, at least early on, from the bot lane, Scary Jerry and Zyko. We'll see if Wixie and Breezy can respond a little bit. Again, 2 bot lanes we're keeping our big eyes on.
Kind of flag.
Ooh, that's a W start for Scary Jerry. That feels really bad, but Flash is okay.
I mean, I'd rather start W than lose Flash, personally. So I think that's well done here for Maryville, as kind of a weird level 1 there from AoE. And it's not going to stop. Might even continue as Rosethorn maybe looking to sneak in here. We'll spot out Spyrax.
All right, so nothing going to be there just yet, but it definitely gives a little bit more safety for Maryville to play around the bot side now. I do wonder, because last game, UG went with the full clear, was very reactive on the Maokai. This time around, the Xin Zhao definitely needs to be a little bit more proactive. So that early pathing is going to be even more important now.
And you can see, wow, Maryville, they're playing very defensive here, making sure that there was no Trundle on the blue buff that was warded out, looks like, by Onat or Rosethorn. They walked in there together. There will be red starts for each of our junglers and another mirrored matchup.
Be curious, that early pathing there. But that's where I do want to speak about AoE a little bit more, because I think AoE, with the roster acquisitions they've had this year, are setting themselves up for serious success. And that game 1 definitely put some damper on that to some extent. But when this roster was formed, like, to see Rosethorn and Zamudo pairing up together, Onat after those big moments he had in the combines and offseason, and the fact that Wixie Breezy are back, like, this team should be a cut above the average, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have some hopes for these players. Like, I know Breezy is someone that, you know, we've felt like has really been on the cusp of, like, being one of the top supports. Like, it felt like a couple years ago, you know, he was kind of behind, like, Lucio, Aowa, Chime. This past year, you know, Diamond and Poom each got some looks. But, you know, Breezy's kind of always been right there as someone that, you know, should be or can be considered. Hold on, Rosethorn going for an invade. Yuji found him. Flashes.
Nice flash from Yuji. That was actually so big. That might just be the difference maker. There is the shielding coming through, and Deadly Flourish going to be a little wide there. Yuji was waiting for it, though.
I mean,
they're all under vision here. This is a little bit rough.
Yeah, Zyko is going to get chunked out here a little bit, too. Does have the bone plating, so that will limit the damage, but AoE hard committing to this. Onat still has push. We'll see if... okay, good sidestep by him.
Yuji's in a lot of trouble here.
He's all right.
Be careful. All right, so blue buff has been baited like 4 times. Not going to go down. AoE playing off the back of that one. And it looks like Yuji's going to go right back to it.
I mean, the biggest winner from all this is Scary Jerry. He didn't move.
For sure.
He stayed in lane. He moved for 1 W. That missed. Besides that, he's been picking up everything. So he's in decent shape here. Might help him get into this lane phase. That can be a wee bit tricky against the Kalista.
Onat having a pretty good control of the mid lane, as should be the case early on with this Akali. No big ganks going that way just yet. Rosethorn passing over that mid lane now as well. It's a very quiet mid lane yet again, it feels like, or at least early on. Last game, Spyrax definitely ran away with it after a little while, but Onat definitely feels a little bit more confident on this Orianna.
Onat, very comfortable on the mages. I think Silas is the pick that I have seen him play. But when I think of Onat, these are the champs that I think of. I think of this, I think of Victor. I think of his Gragas, actually, which is quite good. Not a pure mage, but, you know, I like to honor what we like in the tape. As Yuji spotted on the bot side. A lot of focus being put down here to try and keep the Kalista down. Again, I think it's really important that Scary Jerry is level 4, still sitting on that potion. Really nice start.
And I want to ask, does that actually change the game plan for AoE when we're kind of getting this different look and not as much pressure? Because I would personally like to see Rosethorn after this topside clear try to get down toward the spot side and get Wixie anything as possible. Because once the Kalista does get ahead of the Jhin, it doesn't stop. And if you can get that going, AoE definitely have a win condition.
Potentially. I mean, I think that is the lane they want to look towards. Like Aatrox and Gnar, both teams are kind of okay leaving these two on an island. I think it slightly favors the Gnar this game because Zamudo actually went for the Conqueror. Very much the team fighting keystone and not the laning keystone where we usually see like the Comet plus the Scorch. So I think Maryville, like, again, what their solo laners get is really important. And I think it's more important that they play towards that. And it should leave their bot lane open to make plays. But yeah, I don't know, like Bard, you can kind of play away from Bard and like Jhin and be okay. So it is a little bit tricky to catch him out. It was the serrated Zerg start for Scary Jerry, so that might help Rosethorn if he is going to go in well.
I get Yuji just threw the Wind Becomes Lightning right between all three of the Grays. It feels bad. There is, though, the trade of the objectives now, and I think this maybe benefits Maryville a little bit more. I think the grubs are just so good. The early dragon stacking is a denial of what Maryville were trying to build towards last game, though, and I can appreciate that from AoE.
I mean, this one makes sense to me. I am more so curious about what happens with the next grub spawn, and if we do see a contest from AoEs. I think that if they swap Wixie and Breezy up there, that could be an angle for them to maybe look for an early fight and take advantage of some of the strength of that Kalista. At the moment, Maryville, I mean, they're fine playing away from the Jhin, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If Jhin has any early advantages, I would say, yeah, full in there. We'll see if the snowball works, but at this state of the game right now, you're just looking everywhere else, it feels like. And speaking of not looking everywhere else, Zyko gets hand shook right into the jaws of Wixie and Breezy. The burn is not going to be enough because he's got those potions ticking. And actually, Maryville makes it out by the very, very little health bars they have. And Yuji going to have to be a little bit more careful here as the rest of AoE are actually chasing down. The handshake comes through. Yuji goes right back in. The deadly flourish is going to miss. And first blood goes to none other than Wixie.
Yeah, there was no flash on the Zen Zhao. The only way to go is in. Yuji tries to find something, but ends up going down. Serrated Dirk start on Wixie on this Kalista as well. And I gotta say, that one's new. I wonder what we're going to start with here if we are Wixie. As unfortunately, Spyrax caught with a -1. Gotta cover this.
Yeah, for sure. We actually, I agree. I think if Scary Jerry hits the Deadly Flourish, I think Breezy's dead.
Yeah.
But the difference is a Deadly Flourish not connecting.
Yeah, props to Onat, too, using that mid-cryo to actually come down and be a part of the play. Ends up getting a piece of it with the shield. That counts as assist money in the pockets of the Orianna, too. So good use of a little bit of a timer there from Onat.
Now, Zyko still being out on the map, getting these chimes. We do want to see with Rosethorn heading down here if they can bait out a play against this bot lane 2v2.
I do want to highlight real quick. So I didn't mention in draft that Akali, like one of the reasons that she's really strong is that she has a couple viable builds, mostly around Storm Surge. The other one's actually around Liandry's. And with old Liandry's being back, Spyrax is doing that. And this gives you exactly what you want as Akali, which is health AP damage over time. Zamudo.
Niall's going to have to burn that flash. Does make it out alive. Was in a very sticky situation there, though.
Yeah, it doesn't have TP, so should be able to get back for most of it. Actually, a little bit of an oops. And I don't think that matters at all approaching the next set of grubs here, Mazel, because that's kind of where my eyes are at.
Ed, and Eddie ×2. It is, though, something else to think about because of the early fact of the first take and see if AoE want to put a lot more presence up there. Because right now we've had a much more slow roll game than we had in game number 1, where you were getting those side lane kills, things like that. And this time around, AoE are in a much better position because we talked about in draft of their composition, very stable, it feels like, once you get up and off the ground.
Yeah, oh, hold on. A little bit of a trade. As Wixie gonna pick a little something up. Yeah, I mean, for AoE, like, it's more stable in the sense, like, you can 5v5, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what AoE is going to look to do. But Maryville, they want the skirmishes. They want to find side lanes. As Onat will be able to use the dissonance to help him buy enough space to get out.
Oh, they're walking right into Rosethorn. They realize that Spyrax is now in some trouble. He will end up going down to Onat. And that's a big pickup in mid lane off the back of a play that Maryville wanted to make.
Yeah, and these, if these solo laners don't get ahead, then Maryville won't be able to side lane and find things in the mid game. I think that Maryville in game 1 did a really nice job of playing around those win cons. They had the poke, they had the Maokai, they got the Maokai farm early, and then they grouped up and really took AoE out of the game. This time around, though, if these solo laners don't get ahead, it could be trouble. Niles down a flash.
Oh, he is very little and very scared. He does end up getting out alive with the extra movement speed you get from the shapeshift and also the triple hit. But it actually is Onat moving first up here. I think
MU wants this. Onat's out of mana.
Dude, yeah, he has literally no mana. So Rift, the Ed and Eddie, rather, not Rift. It's going to be started up.
Kevins?
And, yeah, the Kevins.
Are you
I like
bending
Ed and
the
Eddie
winds of
more.
flowers? You cannot
Yes,
let flowers control you,
think
Mazel.
so. Hey, Ed and Eddie's part of my childhood, all right? You make
too?
the reference, and there you go.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to bend the wind of flowers here. Yuji is on these. He did get one. He wants two.
Got two.
As, yeah, that now denies the big grub stack. Because 5 and 6 where you get that big power spike. And so,
he might actually get the third one, too.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He's fine putting that away. He already did his job.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
And I think that's something you have to keep in mind when you're moving forward in this state of the game in Season 14 is, like, taking away a little is still good. For a game where it feels like it's always all or none, it's nice to have that variability.
Oh, speaking of all or nothing, there's only one dragon, and that's looking like it's going to go over to AoE. As Niles going to try and pop it.
Oh! Zamudo with the revenge solo bolo in the top side.
Yeah, Niles was getting a little bit feisty there, was trying to play to pop his mega, didn't get it in time. Zamudo flashes in, brings the hammer down. As that little Gnar goes to the gray screen, dragon picked up, and Mazel, this one's looking quite AoE favored. It ain't that close.
You know, I'd say so. Is this gonna be another one-sided?
Might get a 6-game day.
We might get a 6-game day, and I'm here for it. Zamudo maybe punished actually a little bit on the back end of this one, but not too heavy. And I think AoE are really set up for success here. I mean, first and foremost, the Onat Orianna is already going to be so strong later on. We saw earlier in the day how strong Orianna is. You also now have the Hubris first item pickup for the bot side for Wixie, and now we can see Niles getting solo bullet.
I mean, he's close to that mega. He needed at least one or two more autos, but nope. Yeah. Pops the ult, ends up popping him. Zyko now.
Oh no, Zyko. He misses the timing on that one, and after that, he might just go down. No! Is he? Oh, he does. Onat gets his second kill of the game, and those are the kinds of moments you want back every time.
You know what happened to me when I missed that Bard combo in a game with Azale? He's like, did you watch my video?
That's what I was going to say. I said, would somebody link him the video right now?
Which honestly was quite handy. Azale does it off of a VX, pretty much. You can always get it 100% of the time. Zyko, unfortunately, I don't think he was able to execute upon that. Zamudo now. Okay,
all right. Zamudo's like, all right, you got me this time. Okay. You finally got me, Niles. As that is a nice pickup. Sundered Sky did get completed for Zamudo there in the end.
A flash was committed and someone died. Meanwhile, on this side, Rosethorn, he's a little bit...
A deadly flare is connected! Let's go! They got a fourth shot! Woo! 4, baby, 4! It's not golf, Cubby.
That felt unnecessary and a bit personal, Mazel, but that's fine.
It was personal.
The fourth shot was also personal as, hey, AoE, They lost on both sides of the map there, Mazel. And, okay, I will say, Niles, I guess they do have the 5th grub. Maryville, they were able to pick those up. There isn't a grub tracker. I was caught.
Yeah, we need to find a grubby tracker. Okay. I was going to say Niles not going to go for any more pressure on the turret.
Here we go.
Take a look back this one.
I mean, this is good defense being played by Scary Jerry. He's able to kill the wave using the Jin traps and the Deadly Forge. The first one at least. And Rosethorn, let's see. He uses the W. TP comes in. I mean, Scary, there's never a chance to do this.
Yeah, that's really, really rough play from AoE.
Yeah,
I think they say if they had gone right when they set the play up, I think there was an angle. But after they waited so long,
they lost the wave. Like, Scary Jerry killed the wave, and that's what ends up making the play so good for the side of Maryville. Meanwhile, we do have Wixie Russian Hubris on Callista. I must say, this is new.
Yeah.
This is,
so I have a theory about it, because you start stacking the crowns, right? And like the faster you get, the more crowns you get if you're planning on the game going really late or something along those lines. And so like I was talking with somebody at LCS yesterday about that. And like I feel like it's feasible to some extent, but it's a bit of hubris to take that first item.
It's appropriately named, you know?
It really is.
I will say, like, the one champ I don't hate it on is Jace. That's a nice combo from Niles. He doesn't get the towers to actually hit the Aatrox. Bit of a bummer there. Didn't kill off the creeps. If he has that completed Triforce, I believe that he does get that, but did take the pit stop for the Executioner's Calling. As Psycho.
Easy magical journey out of there.
Not gonna be canceled. Yep. Riftmaker start.
Almost
for
did.
Spyrax looking to be a drain tank. Bit all over the place here, Mazel, but we'll see things be grouped up and standardized by AoE as they look to take this dragon. Zimido just reset. Doesn't have that TP available. I'm a bit surprised to see him go topside. I'm also a bit surprised to see our screen freeze. I gotta get back in position because we are in a pause.
Hello, we're back. Hopefully we will be back in the game very shortly. I'll give you an update with what is going on as soon as possible as I look over to a bunch of potential notifications. It does look like a player DC. So we do have a little bit of time. And I want to break down a little bit about the 2024 campaigns for both these two teams. And I want to go back to a little bit of the history of Maryville University. I talked earlier a little bit more about the lackluster year they had to start, at least. A lot of strong showings towards the back half of that split. But a new retooled, refeeling Maryville University. Some different pieces, some moved around obviously at the last second, but a team that has a goal in mind for them to make a splash here in an ACL and make that collegiate standard known.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild because, like, okay. I guess, you know, I would love to jump into that, Mazel. I was going to talk about how Winthrop won everything. It's 6-second everything, and Maryville is the one in Challengers. Might be interesting OQs for anyone that is a fan of those. We are here, as it does involve our broadcast later on in the season. But at the moment, I think we're going to take interest in this upcoming Dragon, Mazel, as I expect AoE to put their eyes on the Mountain Dragon. We have Mountain Soul this game.
He's just wanted to get the one grubby. Just gotta get the one. Does end up popping the ulti there. Rift Herald being driven by Rosethorn. Let's see how his driving skills are. Vroom, vroom into the turret. Oh, it's denied. Psycho, big brain dude. They'll end up getting it anyways. But the biggest denial is that Rosethorn didn't get to drive it into the turret. And I think that's a pretty big dub. Now he's going to drive it into the dragon pit.
Niles.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yep. Oh, wait,
that's big healing from the Sundered Sky. Oh, ooh. Niles with the solo right back. Don't come to Captain America.
Not enough. Zimido falls. Niles takes the wave. We'll be dragging going over to AoE as Niles doesn't have that ultimate available and it's pretty low on the Mega. So Maryville just going to shift their power elsewhere on the map. That is at least something in their pockets. But AoE, I think, still in pretty good shape picking up this third dragon.
I know this matters literally none, but I really want to know if Rosethorn drove the Rift Herald into the dragon. I just need to know that for myself.
I'm going to go with...
Onat is in a lot of trouble here. I don't know how Spyrax got here. I don't know how this happened, but Onat is 100% dead. And he actually gets a deadly flourish on the back end of it. Bailout comes through. Spyrax ends up cleaning it up. He will get out of there. Magical journey over to the tower. Zamudo, he's right back into it, though. Scary Jerry is the one that's paying out in all of this. He is literally made of money now. And it almost gets the deadly flourish. Flash comes out of Wixie. The rest of MU were right behind AoE, and Maryville giving a little bit of a fight. It is 3 dragons to AoE.
I like that a lot from Maryville. Again, they have to utilize the power of their solo laners. They want to get into this game, find the skirmishes, and it was matched by AoE. Like, the TPs came in. It was honestly, like, the biggest fight we've had so far in this game, but Maryville, just given that Akali was able to pop the priority target right off the bat, able to be ahead in this fight.
Gotta take a look. So we don't know how Spyrax got there, but Odat was
he killed the wave and stayed. He just faked his face. So I love the response coming out. Really nice deadly flourish. Did connect from Scary Jerry, and then props to Zyko. I mean, this almost got him out. Also, I really like Scary Jerry. He's gonna actually fish for Breezy with this upcoming W.
Yep.
Does get the heal out of Wixie and nearly finds it on the curve. Yeah, that was really well done.
He had the heal. Yep.
Yeah,
he kills him if the heal doesn't come through.
Yeah, really good attempt. So I think nice moment there from Maryville is they're putting up some fight. I still favor AoE as this game goes on, but they have to be careful in side lanes like this because that's where Maryville can be very, very strong with this Kali.
Okay, Magical Journey will get him out of there. Oh, flash play from Breezy, though. Yuji. Oh, wow. That was a long distance there. We see the player DC. It was the Mudo. But Yuji actually making out alive there. We do have the Baron on the table, but Zamudo now in some trouble against Niles. Does pop the World Ender. Makes it over the wall.
We got a TP, though.
If Niles has Mega coming up. I don't think he wants this, though. There's so much healing from the Sundered Sky.
He got a TP. He's chilling.
Here. There we go. Okay, Niles getting caught here in the end and shut down. Ends up to Onat.
All right. I mean, he got TP out. I thought that was enough. Niles, though, fishing for a little bit more. Was not able to keep on proccing W's on Nar. Ends up going down. More gold back to AoE. Onat's really big. And this is really my concern that I have for this game is that Maryville. What are you going to do when the next dragon spawns? Like, this front to back from AoE, given how much gold that Onat has in his pockets, Mazel. Archangel's coming in too. Once that item completes, it's going to be a lot harder to execute the Orianna in the fights as Kali. I don't know how Maryville is going to be able to get back.
The only saving grace I have, and it's still a while, still 2 minutes, still another dragon, right? But Wixie is going to be very close to his second item now, still needing a little bit more. Scary Jerry maybe be like 2.5 items. Oh, no. Okay, well, if Zyko gets caught out, then that is not going to help. And he ends up getting one more auto. Woo, the burn.
Oh,
it's enough. Breezy
man.
with the fade away. Don't even look at explosions. Cool guy kill.
That was through the locket and 2 W's being dropped on himself there. The Ignite just able to burn down the Bard enough. I mean, that's just going to make it even easier for AoE to control the river. That's all they care about right now. Maryville, they don't have the damage to do a Baron because they took a Jhin, Mazel. So
hey.
It's not an option.
Hey. That 4th shot does a lot of damage, all right?
It does.
4th shot does a lot of damage.
It does. We'll see if he has the opportunity to use those, as he does have the opportunity in his inventory. Actually, fun fact, you know what the Ornn upgraded version of opportunity is called?
What is it?
Certainty. That's kind of nice. I do like that in this season.
The new upgrades are actually really good. Like the names. Somebody sat there and came up with some banger names for the upgrades for the new items. We do have Dragon in about 45 seconds. I want to set the stage here because we have the side lane pressure. Both have TP available. Maryville need to fight this Dragon.
Well, at the moment, things look pretty dark for AoE. So Maryville, with Zyko being able to get back out on the map, have recovered the vision. But this is where AoE is going to group as 4. They're going to take mid-wave, catch it high, and then shift their way down. So Spyrax done a nice job getting bot lane in deep. He might be able to have an angle if AoE plays this a little bit too aggressively, but MU have to, let AoE get in here. There's no way they can stop them from getting in this river.
There is not. And again, the team fight looks very dicey from them.
Okay, Spyrax is TPing the bot wave, and then Niles is TPing behind. So here we go.
All right, so they're trying to set AoE off kilter here by getting them surrounded. Angles. They have to fight this. They need a good entrance.
Early ult from Wixie.
That was really rough. Now, the biggest thing is when is Scary Jerry going to ult? You've got Spyrax locked down on the back. You got to do something, Maryville. Spyrax is all by himself. They end up taking down Zamudo, there is the curtain call. It's Spyrax traded for a top laner, but the dragon the whole time. Wait, Yuji just goes in. Nobody's on the dragon. Now Yuji's just dying. What? And it's Rosethorn on the dragon. It's going to be Psycho that gets it. What the hell is going on? Niles with a 4-man ulti. And Scary Jerry's still there. He gets flashed on. Beautiful use by Zyko to stop the advance there as Niles gonna get the speed up here very soon. Needs to be a little bit careful. Niles flashing, gets the speed up, gets the jump over, and is he out? No way, Zyko's chasing him here too. You do have the vision given to him here. Speed up by Rosethorn. This is like the greatest chase of all time. And Niles!
Renata W.
He's not gonna get it. The bailout's there, but what a time to be alive.
Oh, no.
To watch them chase him down and Maryville lose everything on the back end of it.
Well, they got the dragon at least, Mazel. I don't know what the hell happened there. I saw Bard secured the dragon. So let's take another look. What happened to our smite keys here? As Spyrax is going to go down, bought a lot of time for the rest of his team to take down Zamudo. And then things get crazy. So Rosethorn doesn't have smite available. Yuji does. Yuji tries to get out of the pit, and we cannot watch that because we got more action.
Zamudo has popped the World Ender, and unfortunately, Scary Jerry's right in front of him, and he is a gen. Shutdown does go over. 6-1 for Onat, and AoE now on to the Baron.
Onat's been really big this game. I mean, obviously, for me, Onat, very comfortable on mages. This is where we saw him doing really well with the Peach Cats in Aegis League, the biggest Tier 3 tournament that we had in the offseason. Onat made a really good use of that. Part of the reason he ended up back on AoE with Rosethorn, but here we go. We have a Baron contest still. Zamudo.
Zamudo is so big, though. Like, so,
keep him out.
Takes so long to take down and just doesn't die ever. And I think that's the biggest difference right now in the fight. As Yuji's going to be very close to going down, but cannot stop the Baron take from AoE.
In this game, looking like we're going to go to a third, Mazel, as AoE. They've got this Baron. I don't think anyone can stop this Orianna unless you find the one-shots. And I got to say, I feel like that I'm starting to fall off on the Xin a little bit, Mazel. I'm glad that we're seeing this Trundle counterpick. I really think that Trundle is a great matchup into Xin. He's such a headache to deal with, and he just, like, all you can do with Xin is go in, and he just takes all your stats away.
I might be looking at results-based analysis, but Xin has not looked good today. And I don't know what the priority is coming from, but everybody is putting super high priority on him, and every time I've seen him left out in the dirt.
It's Titanic Hydra, but then you just take Trundle, you build the same item, and then you steal all the stats.
You do it better. Now we do see AoE positioning up to this top side. They still have about 2 minutes on the Baron buff here, so they should be able to get some more tier 2s. It looks like Scary Jerry's going to be backing for his third item. Don't think that's going to make a difference now, though, as the second turret is now the brunt of the aggression of AoE.
Yeah, and it's so much more difficult, like, once things like the Baron come in. Nice Yomu's pop from Wixie to get out of that Tempered Fate. But, like, once the Baron comes in, it's really hard to find angles, and I like how AoE are sieging into side lanes, so they only have to protect one angle from themselves. Makes it really difficult for Spyrax and Niles to get behind them.
And that was a 4v5 that Maryville were not wanting to go for.
I mean, I don't think they can at this point. You're running into Orianna, that's just running into a meat grinder.
And Yuji's just getting taken off the map before you can even do anything, and that's happened multiple times. That happened multiple times to Rosethorn last game, too. We do see Zamudo getting 1v1 by Niles now, maybe 2v2 as we go through it. Spyrax is here. Does he die? He doesn't die. My God, Zamudo is still alive. Do not let this man ever get the Aatrox, it feels like. And after this one, he definitely won't in this series. Another tier 2 falls, and that'll be the inhib tower now.
They made rules for that this time as hell.
Okay, Spyrax on the back end. We got the TP now coming in from both sides.
This is promising.
There's the curtain call. Doing some work. Fourth shot available. Is not going to do anything with that one. Unfortunately, Niles now does not have the Mega Bar. Needs to be a little bit more careful. Zamudo and Rosethorn collapsing on a Spyrax and Zyko too. And Spyrax just has nothing really he can do. One more, and Rosethorn ends up getting the kill in the end, and Zamudo cleans up Zyko. So it definitely looks like we're going to game 3.
It was not promising in the end. I don't know. There was an angle there with the curtain call. I was like, maybe they're able to find someone. Not going to be the case, as Maryville. I don't know. It just feels like there's like the game plan for this team was like for solo laners to get ahead and then make plays in sides. And Soul Laners never got ahead. Onak got massive, and it got really tough for Maryville, a team that has to go in to deal with this Orianna.
Orianna just feels like Thanos in season 14. Like every time I see this pick picked up after 20 minutes, it is literally one-shotting the entire team with a shockwave. So you got to be a little bit careful when you're going into compositions like that, not to give any of those advantages over. But I know Onat is feeling himself. We said it's always O Nation for him, but it's also about a 2024 where he wants to prove himself, right? Like I feel like a lot of people doubted him on TFT last year, on T-Fish Taco, and now he's here after some very stand-up moments in the offseason in a lot of the combines to make his name known as the mid laner for AoE. Now he's locked down here. Yuji, though, in a little bit of trouble. The redemption's going to come out. Onat's just doing so much damage. We just talked about it. There's literally nothing you can do. And a double kill goes to O Nation while Scary Jerry and Spyrax having trouble with a very fed Zamudo.
Well, Zamudo, okay, so you're going to be able to... Michelle, what else do we talk about in games like this? I'm out of practice. This game is boring. But when I stream CQ, this is like where I talk about the Chicago Bears and football, you know?
All I'm saying is if you haven't picked up back-to-back build battler yet, you need to. That's a big
okay.
thing. Anyways, we do have AoE looking to put the finishing touches on this game, number 2, and they're cleaning house with it too. AoE, respond in kind. And baby, we're going to all 6 games. Bring us to a 6th and final game of the day if Yuji can make it happen. And it's going to be one final moment for Maryville in game 2. We'll look at what the draft is looking like for game 3. But AoE just have a little bit more fun with it. One more clean ace, and we're on to a 1-1 series.
All right, I got to say, you know, maybe we can start something now with Challengers League. We got a little bit of a new look, new time. Let's find a break song to play going into game 6s. So, like, whenever we get to a game 6, we can have the same break song, and then
Mark Z Silver Scrapes.
No, never again, please. Yeah, I'm getting asked now, like on Hotline League, like, so are you gonna sing up there? I was like, no one wants to hear that.
Yes.
No.
All right, everyone, that was a heckin' game number 2. That is a tied up series now. We're going to 3 games. We're going to 6 total games. We'll see you on the other side of the break for AoE versus Maryville, round 3.